Now, this is FCT brief. Now, in recent years, Nigeria's airline industry has been significant, has seen significant growth, with more domestic and international routes opening to serve an increasing mobile population. But with growth comes a greater need for awareness, not just of the services airlines provide, but of what passengers are entitled to and what is expected of them. Under Nigerian civil aviation regulations, air passengers are entitled to clear information about flight schedules, ticket prices, and any changes or delays. They have the right to compensation or rerouting in cases of overbooking, flight cancellations, or long delays, except in extraordinary circumstances. Passengers are also entitled to refunds in certain situations, free assistance for persons with reduced mobility, and fair treatment regardless of nationality, gender, or disability.
Well, many Nigerians don't know they can claim compensation if a flight is delayed for hours. Rights are important, but so are responsibilities. Indeed, passenger responsibilities include ensuring tickets are booked in the correct name, complying with baggage rules, respecting airline staff, and following safety instructions. Airlines stress that cooperation helps maintain schedules and service quality. The Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority also encourages travelers to familiarize themselves with aviation regulations before they fly. Informed passengers not only protect their own rights, but also contribute to safer, more efficient air travels for everyone. Now, from the runway to your seat, knowing your rights and responsibilities can make all the difference in your journey. And with us here in the studio is a development consultant, author, columnist with the Punch newspapers, and public affairs analyst, Jide Ojo, and he joins us live in the studio. It's good to have you this morning.
Nice to have you here.
Same here. TVC.
Did you fly into this place, or how did you get in here?
I use Igbe. You know Igbe.
Well, interesting developments. But I'd like us to begin our conversation this way. When a passenger insists on their right but ignores, rules and regulations, where do we draw the line? And are Nigerians even clear on what their rights are?
Very good question. Very good question. Are Nigerians clear on their rights? No. I travel, well, not as many people, but at least I do travel occasionally. And I will say I'm not even aware of most of the things that the airline operators wants to enforce. Okay, let me give you instance. Sometimes my travel is official, so I don't get to buy the ticket myself. So it could be a group ticket. So they just send you your e-ticket that states your name and the time of schedule and the airline. And then you get to the airport and you present your ID card. They say, no, I can't take this. You can't fly on this identification card. It has to be your NIN or international passport or driving license or voter's card. How many people carry such around? You get. Maybe it's in the ticketing law or whatever. And you know this thing is very tiny and people have aversion to reading small stuff. But situations like that, you need to educate the flying public. Your office ID will no longer be sufficient for you to be identified to allow you to board. It has to be any of the following. I don't know that until recently. And yesterday I was watching one of your sister stations where a very senior editor of a, let me be very spot on, the Abuja Bureau chief of TVC newspaper said himself and 3 other senior members of the Nigeria Guild of Editors were prevented from flying because they presented their office ID cards and not international passports and all of that. So if you don't know your right, how do you enforce it? Now, in your background, you read out what a passenger is entitled to, if your flight is delayed, you are supposed to be served refreshment within. If your flight is delayed for 1 hour, you are supposed to be served refreshment. If it's more than 6 hours, you are supposed to be given accommodation. Who does that? 2020, during COVID, I had an official engagement in Ibadan. And it was an evening flight, 4 p.m. And I got to the airport around 3. I checked in, and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. Nobody, no communication. Until about 9:30, they now said the flight is cancelled. And then come back tomorrow by 7:30. A friend flew in from Enugu because there's no direct flight from Enugu to Ibadan. So he flew to Abuja with the intent that, you know, he flew the morning flight from Enugu to Abuja. So we will be on the same flight to Ibadan later in the evening. He has to pass the night in my house. And we got to the airport the following morning before 7:30, and we did not fly until 11 in the morning. On that flight were senior lawyers, senior advocates of Nigeria, judges. There was a particular lady I felt I shed tears for. She was going for a PhD thesis defense at Agowoye University, and she wanted to go a day earlier. And lo and behold, the flight was cancelled without prior notice.
And what you're saying, in essence, is that more needs to be done in sensitizing.
In terms of sensitization, they make so much money. Look at, okay, sometimes look at this Abuja airport road. It will tell you, what's it called? Check-in stops at 30 minutes or 1 hour to the departure. So you plan your time, and then you get to the airport environment, and they are doing road construction. And then there's this long hold-up. And then you have to take a bike and run like a bat out of hell. You get to the counter, they say they've closed. It was not my fault. I came early enough, but I was held up because of the road construction. Say, well, that's not our business. But you, why they want to enforce their own rule on you when it is them that either cancels or delay? There is no compensation.
All right, I'd like you to hold your thoughts on that a bit of a moment. We need to take a commercial break now. Don't go. We're still discussing Nigerian airlines and passenger safety and also their rights. Well, with us here in the studio is an analyst, Jide Uju. Now, Eshemomo, you would like to go with a question.
Yeah, earlier you talked about going to the airport with the work ID. And I think sometimes it's because most of our work ID are only photo IDs. They don't have biometric details. And at the airport, they will want to use the biometric details. So I think that's an aspect that we also work on. The work ID should have biometric details so that you can also use it. But my own question is the swiftness with which the operators, talking about NCAA, FCAA, the airline operators responded to this recent issue. Why have we not seen such swiftness, like the instances you highlighted, where flights are delayed, flights cancelled, nobody apologizes, and because nobody dared to even take them to court, and it's an impunity, they keep doing it. Why don't we have that swiftness from these agencies in responding to these odd behaviors of operators?
Well, maybe we should ask Festus Keyamo, the aviation minister. Because I think the excuses have always had this, oh, you know, the fragility of the aviation sector, you just have to understand with them. But they don't understand with the flying public. If I pay, I mean, in my column in The Punch yesterday, I explored the different transport system, and I call for a safe and efficient, integrated and efficient transportation system for Nigeria. That was what I wrote on in my column yesterday in The Punch. And I looked at the aviation sector. It's shrinking. Passengers flying are reducing. Why? You pay the highest sum out of all the 4 means of transportation, by air, by road, by water, or by what is the fourth one? By rail. It's the flight, is the flight that is the costliest. One way, 1 hour flights in Nigeria can you can pay almost 350,000 for one way, not 2 ways, depending on the day, depending on the time you purchase the ticket. But do you get value for money? The answer is no. Sometimes these airport officials and even the airline operators are very discautious. Even if, okay, you are making an excuse for them that the reason why they will reject your ID card is because it doesn't carry your biometrics. But that's not true. What the photo ID, what is needed for photo ID is to know whether you are actually the person in that flight. You don't need, this is not international flight. You don't need biometrics of me flying because they don't make photocopy. They don't scan. It's just to say you have a means of identification. And this is a local flight, it's not international. But assuming without considering that you are right, that it should contain your biometrics, why don't you educate the flying public enough to know that this is what they have to have on them if they want to fly? Now, I see a lot of pampering by the Aviation Regulatory Agency. When it is the customer that is wronged, to claim your right, even if they cancel and you said you want your money back, you may not get your money in 6 months. Refund. It has happened to me several times. There was a day we were coming to Abuja from Lagos after an official assignment, and we were kept at the airport, 2 p.m. flight. By 7 p.m., after 5 hours, they told us the connecting flight from Port Harcourt is delayed because of weather conditions. Okay, we now decided that we are going to buy another flight, another airline ticket. If you see the form we have to fill, I'm not sure whether eventually the organization has gotten paid. And this happens. Most airlines, most airports are not in the city centers. When you delay people, you are risking their lives.
All right.
If I'm supposed to fly on 2 p.m., okay, if you are going to Abia, there's no airport in Abia. You fly to Owerri or you fly to Enugu. You are still going to do road travel interstate. But the moment your flight is delayed, you may end up sleeping at the airport if you don't have money to go and get an hotel.
All right, let's consider this recent development with Kwam1 and Comfort. Kwam1 is now the face of aviation safety compliance. What critics say that's like giving a medal for bad behavior. Could this move end up undermining this campaign?
I've given a lot of interviews on this in the last 2 days. Kwam1. Have you read Animal Farm? That book is 80 years old today. This year, 2025. It was published in 1945 by George Orwell. Animal Farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than the others. It's not about Kwam1. What about Ashomole? Earlier, 2 months ago, similar scenario, not at the tarmac, but within the airport precinct. We all knew footages surfaced and the kind of unruly behavior allegedly perpetrated by the former national chairman of APC, former governor, and serving senator. But nobody has dragged him to court. So there is always this double standard when it comes to elite. It's not about Kwam1 being Yoruba or being close to the president. You understand what I'm saying? Oshomo, you said something earlier. In other climes, it does happen. Let's not be fixated that, oh, only in Nigeria. When people say on social media, only in Nigeria will this happen, it's not true. Those who invaded the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021, how many of them are serving jail terms? They were all released when Joe Biden came. When Donald Trump came. This January, it was one of the first things he did. All of them were released. Even those who have been convicted were all released. Because they are his boys, quote and unquote. Hunter Biden. Hunter committed a crime, was convicted, but his father pardoned him few days to his departure. So let nobody tell you, oh, only in Nigeria with this. It's about elite, the powerful elite. If you're a student of politics, you will have heard about elite theory. In elite theory, it doesn't matter about your religion or your tribe. If you belong to that caucus, the cabal, the powerful elite, whether it's business elite, military elite, political elite, religious elite, they have a club. If you belong to that club, your sins are forgiven. That's why VIPs were the ones that run traffic. Have they ever been caught? Did you ever see a VIP that when the issue of Bobrisky spraying money and was convicted for 6 months, somebody else who is a billionaire committed the same offense. He just paid fine and he was let go. I don't want to mention him. You know, this is the same country. Somebody was sent to jail, but somebody else on footage was caught. But because he's a billionaire, this guy cannot go to jail now. So he just said 2 out of court. That is the elite theory. Iron curtain of oligarchy. In every system, they exist. And that double standard will forever be. That's why I gave the example of US. Let nobody say it's only in Nigeria. But does it send the right signal, TJSU? No, it doesn't. It shows that, you know, every society runs on double standard. And that's why I made reference to George Orwell in that book. 80-year-old book, which is still relevant in today. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than the other. If you follow, look, if you are a son of the elite, you can join cultism or cult groups. Let them catch you and catch the son of nobody. It's a phone call. The police will release the son of the VIP. You that follow the body for a enter grave, you may be expelled. And we have seen all of this happening. The child or the elites themselves have some form of protection. It does not speak well for development of society, but it is what it is. I will not say, and you can see the backlash since last week Tuesday that the Kwanwan incident happened, and then Sunday or thereabout when the Comfort incident happened, and the swiftness with which the aviation authorities pounced on Comfort, banned her for, even without hearing from her. The same day she committed the offense, you banned her for life, you bundled her to detention. The following day she was arraigned. She's to be remanded in Kirikiri prison, not even in police detention. Kirikiri prison till October. For what now? Did she kill anybody? So you can see the double standard. But I'm telling you, reforming society will take a very long time, because that is what it is in every society. Let nobody gloat and say only in Nigeria would this have happened. Other African countries, other climes, it does happen. But how do we build a just and egalitarian society on this kind of behavior? Because and if you are to examine exactly the crime committed by Kwanwan, I have said that in fairness to him, I've flown both nationally and internationally. This Abuja airport, you clear 3 security checks. You know that. 3 security checks. When you enter the airport, when you get your, when you check in at the counter and you get your boarding pass, you go with the escalator to the first floor, and then there is a 3D scanning. At that point, if you have any liquid on you, even if it's perfume, they can seize it. Water, they will insist you either drink it or you forfeit it at that point. So you are not allowed to carry any liquid past that point. So 3D scan. Even me, when I'm going to the airport, I don't wear clothes where I wear belt, because you will be asked to loosen your belt. You pull off your shoe, you pull off your wristwatch, all because they want to scan you to the launch where you wait for your flight. That's the second checkpoint. Then when they announce your flight and you descend to go on board, there is also another parting. They will part your body. If you are carrying your backpack, they will ask you to pull down your backpack, and then they will scan your body. So if he has cleared these 3 checkpoints and was at the point of boarding. He didn't hide the flask. He carried it with him. And courtesy may have been extended to him previously that is Oga now, Oga's friend. So let him. But you are insisting he cannot board with that. And he said, look, this is water. And I was giving her the lunch while I was waiting for this flight. So why can't I? And I've seen that happen time and again. You want usually when I travel light. So I want my carry-on baggage. I don't want to check in my baggage. So I carry very light travel. I may be going out. It has happened to me on that same Ibon flight. Light luggage, they allow me carry it on. When I was coming back from EU, they insisted I have to check in the luggage. I said, but I flew this same airline.
Okay.
Why do I have to?
Very quickly, because we're already running out of time.
Always, sometimes it's at the discretion of the cabin crew and the airline
All right,
staff.
very quickly, because we've run out of time now. 2 incidents, 0 police presence. Now there's talk of a retreat to retrain airline staff. Is this a stitch in time, or would you just say this is a band-aid for deeper cracks in our aviation sector?
The latter. It's a band-aid for deeper cracks. Because I think if all the people who needs to do the right thing have done the right thing, these incidents will not have escalated. Let me break it down. In the case of Kwanwan, when he was insistent, after all the appeals, they should have invited the aviation security to come and move him away from the tarmac. They have pleaded with you. They have extended that courtesy to you. You cannot disrupt a flight. The flight was delayed from the account of the pilot for about 50 minutes. They were appealing to him. So it was obvious that he wasn't going to listen to any appeal. He was trying to make frantic calls to the people, power that be. Maybe they were ignoring him all over. They should have invited the airport security to move him and escort him out of the way. That's what they should have done. In the case of Comfort, you should not have denied that alighting from the aircraft. No matter the crime she committed, she possibly has a checked-in luggage, and she was going to collect that luggage at the carousel, inside the terminal. So why don't you allow her to come down, invite the airport security to whisk her? That should have averted situation where she flare up and start trying to destroy the airport. So handling of unruly passenger, and it's not only in Nigeria. We are seeing footages globally of unruly passengers who fought on a flight, and how they were, even police had to come in to forcefully remove them. So it does happen. We are not equally, our temperament are not the same, and people are going through a lot of mental health challenge. So sometimes little things can ignite and bring out the madness or the beast in you. But I think a lot goes to the airport, or the airline authorities and the airport management on how to handle unruly passengers. I think there should be a more professional way to handle that. Maybe the retreat that is coming up next week will deal with that. And we look forward to better. But most importantly, as we close, let them treat passengers fairly and well. It's very unbecoming of Nigerian airline operators, the way they just treat us as if we didn't pay for the services we are supposed to enjoy. Delaying flight unnecessarily, cancelling flights without compensation should no longer be yes, it may happen, weather conditions, operational reasons, but I mean, follow the rules. The rules, the passenger's bill of rights is not there as a mere, paper tiger. It's supposed to be enforced, and they should see to it that is enforced. So I also will appeal to our colleagues who are flying public to also play by the rules. I've seen situations where someone seated by me refused to put off his phone, even when there were several announcements. And this is also discretionary. What happened in Comfort's case was she said she put their phone on flight mode. Some airlines, some pilots will say, put your phone, or is it pilot that announced, the cabin crew will say, put your phone on, switch off or put on flight mode. Some will insist, no flight mode, switch it off. But some will insist, no, I know the rules. Right. I will just put it on. So we all, it's across both divides that we need to be more responsive and responsible in the way we react to it.
We need to end this conversation here, but we must say thank you so much for your contribution on the program.
My pleasure.